Hey, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Happy Father's Day. We're so excited about our Team Connect because we have a special guest. You're actually our first guest, Trisha. but it's the month of it's the month of makeup. It feels like, at least in Arbonne. So just wanted to bring in someone who could speak to the makeup, but obviously we want to hear your story too, because it's amazing. I remember meeting you, man, maybe in like 2006 or 7, somewhere in there.
I think,
but you had this like really sharp, like wedge haircut. You looked so professional, and like the light was shining on you. I was just like, oh, she looks like a movie star. You know, because you're an ENVP, and I was new, so I just looked up to you. But the cool thing about Arbonne, and you'll notice this, is the people at the top are so warm. They're so kind. It brings tears to my eyes, and they just scoop you up, and they want every single person in the company to succeed. And it's so different. This culture is so different than anything you'll ever find anywhere else. So Trisha did. She scooped me up. She always made me feel like a winner, like I was, worthy of success. And you're just a light in my life, and I appreciate you and love you so much. And so Trisha has had a wild ride. I would love for her to just share her story a little bit, and then we'll get into some makeup tips and questions and all of that. But so we're just so excited to have you share with us this morning, and just appreciate you so much. So yeah, I would love for you to share your story, like what you were doing before Arbonne, what a snob you were about it, your first, going to Carla's house, and that whole
oh my God,
crazy, and honestly, just how Arbonne has blessed your life so immensely, so many times.
Yeah. Well, girls and guys, we have guys on here. I don't know, but anyway, yes. I was a total makeup snob, working in the aisles of what I always referred to as in the aisles of dysfunction, because that basically is what a cosmetic department is. So, and that had been what I had been doing that for like 25 years, and I had, become a pretty successful makeup artist, and, I thought I made a pretty good income, and life was just good, and nobody had ever said anything about prepare for impact, or, do you have a plan B? My husband is a Detroit firefighter, and we were a 2-income family. And I was T-boned at the intersection right in front of Neiman Marcus on my way to work one morning. And that literally changed our lives. It changed the direction of our lives. And, that whole thing, when something like that, it was like, in the beginning, I thought this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me, but it ended up being the best thing, because it brought me to Arbonne in a long, drawn out way. I was in physical therapy for about 2.5 years. As we drained our money, we refinanced our house twice. We lived on credit cards because my income had stopped. And I just really wasn't physically able to go back and stand on marble floors, 40 hours a week. And people kept telling me about this Arbonne thing. And I was like, I don't think so. That's just doesn't sound like something that I would be interested in doing. And no one had ever approached me about anything at all about, this type of business or whatever. I was just saying no because I didn't know. And, it just, after living my life in that world of high-end retail, I just couldn't see myself doing anything like that. But when you get broke enough, you begin to realize that, so I was on my way over to a friend of mine's house, and on my way to, went to see my acupuncturist, and then I was going to just pop in, and she was having an Arbonne party, and she was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad I didn't invite you. And my first thought was, oh, thank God I called before I just drove up in her driveway, because I didn't want to get trapped in that situation. And so then I went to a little shop that I always loved to go to, and there was a woman there, and she knew that I'd been a makeup artist for years, and but at that time I was like 52 years old and crazy with menopause, and I was having hot flashes, and at that time we had this progesterone cream, and she's like, I think you should do this, progesterone cream, because I was just sitting there like going like this, and she's like, and I said, oh, what is it? Where do you get it? And she was like, well, it's at a compounding pharmacy in Flint. And I'm like, okay, tell me where it is. I'll go get it. I'll do anything, And she said, well, it's Arbonne. And I'm not kidding you. This was probably like the 30 or 40th time in the last 2.5 years that people had put that name in front of me. And I was just like, Arbonne, are you kidding me? And it was just like, I don't know, it was just like a hammer on top of my head. Like, you need to look at this. What is this thing? And so I came home, and the more I thought about it, the more frightened I got about it. And but so I called Carla, who actually brought me into the business, Carla Rosser, and I'm sure you guys know her. I just love and adore her. She's just a sweetheart. Anyway, so I star 67'd my phone. I don't know if you all remember what that was, but I star 67 my phone, so she wouldn't know wouldn't know anything about me. She wouldn't know my last name. She would know nothing about me other than what I told her. I didn't tell her where I lived, but I let her know that I was a national makeup artist for years, and I'd traveled all over the country and blah, 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 blah. I just didn't let her know that I had $14 in my checking account and I was desperate. So I kept that from her. And so and I sat on the bed and just cried before I even called her, because I couldn't believe that, that this had happened to me and we were in this position. And so she lives about 9 miles from me. And I always refer to that 9 miles as like walking the Green Mile. If you ever watched that movie, that's what it was like to me, was walking the Green Mile. And I was just sweating and having anxiety the whole way over there. And I just kept telling myself, you should turn around, you should go back. This isn't what you want. You're not going to do this. Why are you wasting your time? All of those things. Okay. And so I got to her house, and she lives on a big hill with a beautiful, fancy, gorgeous home. And there were people down below the hill working on her garage, and she had a big circle driveway. It was a gravel driveway, so it was kind of a little rough going up because it had ruts in it from the rain or what have you, But anyway, but I was driving a 1989 Volvo station wagon that overheated in traffic. It had cable ties that held the bumper on it. Did you get the picture? And it overheated in traffic, and my husband would always tell me, now listen, when it overheats in traffic, just turn the heater on and it'll bring the thermostat down. And I'm like, you don't tell somebody that's having hot flashes in July and it's 98 degrees out to turn, I'm like, you're lucky to be alive even after you told me that. I mean, I was just like, Anyway, so the makeup, I always call the rearview mirror, because I put my lipstick on all the time. that just dangled. And then the mirror on the side was put on with tape, like it was held on with tape. So, I mean, you know, there was my picture. And I sat there and I thought, she doesn't know me. She does not know where I live. She only knows my name is Trisha. I know she doesn't know any makeup artist that works in Somerset. Um, I can leave and just go home and forget this whole thing. And I sat there and I thought, you have $14 in your checking account and bills are due, and you can't, you've come to the Y in the road. We were gonna have to make a decision what we were gonna do with our house. And, you know, we just ran out of all options. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to see what this stuff is. Because I was only looking for a line of cosmetics that maybe I could work with a photographer and do some weddings. And I wanted a line of cosmetics that I could sell. That's all I wanted. I didn't know anything about this business at all. And so I knocked on the door. Carla is all bubbly and you know, you can just see her, right, Tammy? She's all bubbly and excited, you know. But unbeknownst to me, I mean, I had scared her to death and she was a nervous wreck too. So I walked into her house and she had her whole dining room table filled with everything in Arbonne on it. And I was like, oh my God, what have I got into? And so she goes, can I get you something to drink? And I'm like, yeah, I'd love a glass of water. And she gave me like a glass this big, like a 32-ounce glass of water. And I took one drink of it and I knocked it over on the table and it went everywhere. And if you know Carla, and if you've ever saw her house, it looks like it ought to be on the front of, you know, Vogue magazine practically. I mean, it's gorgeous and everything is perfect. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I sat down, and after she cleaned everything up with a towel, and I sat down and we started talking, and all of a sudden somebody knocked on the door. And that knock on the door was like, to me, it was like the universe saying, this is your out, go now. So I followed her to the door with my purse. I'm like, I am so out of here. I don't care if she thinks I'm rude. I don't care. I got to get out of this house. And so the man knocked, she opened the door, and this man that was working down on her garage or whatever, it was a place where her boys practice wrestling because they were state champion wrestlers. And he didn't look at her, he looked at me, and he said, ma'am, your car's just rolled down the bottom of the hill and it's ran into my brand new 1-week-old pickup truck. And so Volvo station wagons are tanks, okay? And she had these ruts in her driveway, remember? And my car didn't stay in transmission real well, and I'd kind of forgot about that. So it was kind of pointed downhill when I got out of the car. And so it just followed, and it hit the back end of his truck right at the very end, and it just went down the whole side of his pickup truck and concaved the entire side of his truck in, and it cracked my brake light. That's it, cracked my brake light. And so I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, I just felt like that God had just like clobbered me on my head because I was getting ready to leave. And I was just like, I just looked at him. I said, here's my husband's phone number. He takes care of things like this for me all the time. We've got really good insurance. Well, don't worry. And I turned around, I went back in, and I proceeded to literally mortify Carla because, you know, the things that people don't know about the cosmetic industry is it's not the greatest hygienic place in the whole world. And you're just not careful about that kind of stuff. And And so she wanted to know what I wanted to do first, and I said because by then I I had um, I had developed all of these allergies. I'd worked in that industry for a long time, but I couldn't wear any eye makeup. I couldn't wear any mascara. And the smells from lipsticks, like if you ever reached in a drawer and got a lipstick out that's been in there for a while and you put it on and it smells like it has well, I didn't know that that was animal fat that had went rancid. Because you don't know anything about cosmetics when you work in the cosmetic department other than how to sell it and how to put it on. That's it. Somebody come and ask me about an ingredient, I'd be like, well, no idea. I mean, that's not my job. My job, you're going to have to write the company and find out, that's like a scientist type thing. And so I wanted to smell the lipsticks. I smelled them and I'm like, okay, that's cool. They don't, the first thing I wanted to do was to look at her foundations, and that was in the tubes. Do you remember the tubes, Tammy? So there were like 8 of them, I think. And so she handed me, so they were all sitting out there, and she handed me a spatula. And I was like, I set the spatula down and I took my arm and I took every tube of foundation and put it on the back of my hand and felt it, watched it, adjust to my skin tone. In her eyes, I had just contaminated all 8 of her foundations. That was totally unbeknownst to me. And so the next thing I decided to do was, I wanted to see the lipsticks. I took those, I put every one of them on the back of my hand. And I just went through the whole color line. And then, the next thing was like, I just knew that the eyeshadows wouldn't have any pigment in them. And as a makeup artist, that's what you really want, is pigment. And so she handed me that tri palette that we used to have, remember? And so I took all 5 fingers and I dipped my fingers in each, like rubbed, and got all 5 of my fingers covered with the eyeshadow. And then I put them on the back of my hand. And because every time she would hand me something, she would hand me a sponge or a palette little thing, or she'd hand me a little applicator, and I would set them down. And so we got done with that. And then I'm like, well, what about your skincare? And we had 2 items called Nutrimin C. Because girls, this is 0100. I mean, like, and those 2 items, I remember her just being so proud of those items because they were $72 for those 2 items. And I was mortified, as, talking about being a makeup snob, because I was like, how do you make any money in this company? That's your most expensive item? I mean, I sold $250 eye creams. And I was like, how in the world? And as it is now, they've, because I think we were a lot more, we were, I don't know, we just didn't talk about paychecks and money back then, as it's getting, kind of back like it is. And I kept asking her how much she made, and she would not. And I'm like, what do these ENVP people make? She would not tell me. She goes, but our company car is a Mercedes. And I thought, oh, I could use that. Probably has air conditioning. And so that thought process in my head was like, well, if their company car is a Mercedes, then, because that to me was a really prestigious car. And I thought, I bet you anything that, you could probably, I could probably, because all I was looking to do was just to replace what I was making, and I just wanted to make enough money to replace what I was making, and I thought at this point, even if it's $500 a month, that's better than what I have coming in now. So, just a little bit of money would, make such a huge difference in our lifestyle, because we were, I mean, I had to do something. And so I came home, and the more I thought about it, I just told my husband, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a Mercedes. And he's like, okay, honey. And so that was my journey. I literally, Tammy, I don't know if I ever told you this, I really thought that she worked for me. And I took her all of my paperwork, because we faxed everything in back then, and we had to tape. These forms did not fit the fax machine, and we'd have to fold them up, and then we'd have to tape checks. You can see how lucky you are. You have all this stuff now. We had nothing. And so I would, I had worked all over the country, and all my girlfriends, they were all broke too. And so I just, I flew to Minneapolis, I flew to Texas, I flew to Missouri, and that's how I built my business. And I literally, I mean, we had no money. I mean, I had one credit card, and I would just, I mean, it was like, it was like a balancing act constantly to, be able to do what I needed to do. But that's how the minute that the light bulb went on in my head, I just, it was like, I have to do this. And I had, there was no option for me. I had to make it work, because there was nothing left to do. I had to do this no matter what it took. And that was totally my determination, was like, you have to make this happen. And so that's how I built my business. So calling all my broke friends.
So you networked. I love what you said, that people say no because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you heard a little bit more, you were like, all right. I think it's hilarious she didn't tell you how much people make.
No.
And I find it fascinating that makeup artists don't actually know what's in cosmetics. So I mean, when you were approaching your other makeup artist friends and stuff, what were you saying? Like, how did you, talk about Arbonne?
My whole world, because I mean, just probably like you as a nurse, your world revolved, your friends, where you work, they become kind of like your circle. So my world evolved around a lot of people in that industry. And, I had a couple of girlfriends that listened to me. But you guys, you got to realize, I knew people from probably every state in the United States. I had worked with them in some way or another, some fashion or other. I had worked with these people, because we brought in makeup artists to work in our stores, or a group of, I would go to New York every year to listen to what the new trends were. They would fly us there. I knew people in this industry, and just like myself, just a couple of them listened to me. I mean, and to this day, I mean, I could walk into Saks or Neiman's and see people in there that I knew. And I mean, I've been in Arbonne 19 years now, and they're still there.
Yeah.
And it just breaks my heart, because once you can't unknow, and that's, when people say, what's the best thing that ever happened to you because you said yes to Arbonne? And the best thing that has ever, I mean, the most incredible thing, people might say, well, it's because of what you've been able to do or whatever, but it's not. It's what you can do for others. And in the beginning, when you begin to build this business, that is not even a concept in your head, because you've never been really taught that before. You didn't go out and get a job so you could do for others. You got a job so you could do for yourself and your family, right? But, Rita always told us that to whom much is given, much is expected. And, that was the culture that she taught us. And once you have, whether it is helping somebody, because we didn't have nutrition then or anything like that, but you know, I knew enough about my industry to know that it were times it was really hard for women to walk into a cosmetic department. It's kind of intimidating, you know. They think we're perfect, you know, and there I was. I love to garden, so I literally I'd go to work with wet hair and no makeup on, and I might stay that way all day long. I mean, I didn't care if I didn't have makeup because my eyes would get so red and irritated, and but I would watch people come to my counter and I would do their makeup and I would just see them light up and glow for how they felt. So that, to me, you know, I love our nutrition, and you know, I love it. But to me, lipstick is the key to the door into this business,
Right.
because women want to feel good about themselves. They want to look good. And my gosh, the power of putting on lipstick, I've watched it. I have, you know, and like they say, what is it that say, it's back during the Depression, it was the only three things that were not affected, and that was alcohol, booze, and cosmetics. And that's because, you know, I can remember my mother might not have any makeup on at all, but she always had her red lipstick on, and I've kind of inherited that, I think, from her. But you know, to be able to make women feel good and to feel better about themselves, and then to watch, you know, watch that transpire into, you know, changing their life because they said yes to this business. That has been the most rewarding thing, that it just makes me feel so good. And that's what keeps me going and always trying to share this opportunity, this business, these products with other people, because of, you know, it's just a good feel good thing, you know. So
I just, you just hit it, you know, with what you're saying, because so often we get the objection of, I'm not a salesperson. And I always like to say, oh my goodness, thank goodness, I'm not a salesperson either, but I'm a people person.
mhm.
And that's all we have to be, is
Yeah,
we just have
if
to
you
be,
don't like people, you need to get out.
yeah. But it's,
You know, because you know, I know you do too. I mean, I get my energy from being around others. I love to help other people in so, you know, in all ways that I can. And because, you know, and I mean, my journey in Arbonne has been crazy because, you know, I've had a lot of things happen in my journey as far as health with my kids and myself. And I literally, for probably, I'm going to say about 6 years, I was off the chart. I mean, you know, between my son having stage 4 kidney cancer, and he has a rare disease, and both of his boys have it. So between brain surgeries, not lung transplants, but part of lungs are being removed, and kidneys being removed, and we're talking his boys, and my son, me having my spine rebuilt, 2 knee replacements, and my husband having cancer. And I never had to worry financially about, you know, how we were, and you know, it's so funny because when I was in that position, when we were in that position, and I worried, because people don't go to bed worrying about what tube of lipstick they're going to wear the next day. They don't go to bed worrying about anything to do with any of that stuff. They go to bed worrying about how they're going to, you know, provide for their families. And so I knew I always told my husband when we were talking about it, and I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because I had no education. All I knew how to do was put makeup on people. And, you know, And really that's not that difficult. So if you're sitting there thinking, you know, I don't know how to do that, grab some girlfriends and practice, just, and really in all honesty, you don't even have to do it. Most women know how to do their own makeup. So as our dear friend Carol Kirkin always said, just put it on the table and tell them to play with it. I mean, and just don't be afraid, because you can always wash it off. I mean, just have fun in this business. That is what I want to see people do more than anything, is to have fun in this business. But I would always say, whatever I do again, I never ever want to be in a position that somebody can pull the rug out from underneath me and put me in this position of being so afraid for how we're going to survive. And I probably said that every day. I will never be put in this position again that I have to worry. And this is a funny story. So I went to a car presentation 3 months into my Arbonne business, and Rita was there, and so was
Petter?
no, Petter was not there. Oh my gosh, Rita was there, and
Candace?
you know what, Cecilia was there, and somebody else, but I can't remember who. But Rita got up and spoke, and she was talking about preparing for impact. And I was like, what is she talking about? And she's like, mind your mind, and what you think about, you bring about. You guys, I had never heard this kind of language before. It was like learning a whole new language, which I'm sure, where do you start a job at in the other part of the world, not our part of the world, but not our Arbonne world, but where do you start a job that people are so concerned about your mindset and your personal thoughts, and that they let you know that how important it is to mind your mind and to educate yourself by reading 30 minutes a day, or none of that. I'd never heard. It was like a total, I kind of walked out of there and I thought, what did she talk about? I mean, I was just, and I got the Shad Helmstetter book, what you say when you talk to yourself. And I mean, that kind of book, that was kind of the first book that I read, and I thought, oh my gosh, so that was my journey into Arbonne. But I mean, it's such an amazing gift. I just look at Arbonne as a gift, a true gift. So
I love it. I love that you said build it before you need it, because and I think too about how impact is hitting people so hard right now. And I just like, I have so much emotion around that, because I just feel it. My story, I went through chemo, lost my income and everything, and I was always looking for a way to, like, how do people not become homeless if their income is not coming in anymore? And so I was always looking for something to do, and I didn't know it was going to be wrapped in Arbonne. And that's the thing, people just don't know what we have a hold of here. And so for those who are ghosting us, or just brushing us off, people, I just want this to be the underlying theme here. People matter, and they're worth circling back for. And they're saying no because they don't know. And they're saying no because they're scared to take a chance on something that they perceive won't work. But they're worth going back for, and it's worth it to just share your heart and be vulnerable, and tell them that they matter and they're on your heart for a reason. So, and it might not be them, but it might be someone they know too. So that's I love that you wove that theme in, because that's the heart of what we do. We're hope dealers,
and I mean, people are watching you whether you think they are or not. I mean, that's just what cracks me up. Like, they wouldn't like anything you posted for love nor money. I mean, they wouldn't say, like, well, here's a story for you. My son, for 17 years, I tried to get him to do Arbonne because I knew that he would be awesome in it. I knew his personality. I just knew he has such a big heart, such a huge, huge heart. And I just knew that he would be, well, you know, it's been a year now well, it was a year in February that he called me, and I was on vacation, and his wife had had an affair, and he had no idea, and he was broken. And I was just like, this is what you're going to do now? And you have no other options. He has a very hard job, very hard physical job. And I'm like, you're 48 years old. How long do you think you can keep doing what you're doing? You work 14 hours a day with an axe and a shovel, basically a sledgehammer and a pick hammer. That's what he works with. They build very exclusive swimming pools. And so I was just like, you're going to do it. This is what you're going to do. And I mean, to hear him talk now, it just is like, it's the most rewarding thing to watch this process that's happened over last year. And he's just like, I can't imagine my life without Arbonne. I mean, he's just like, I found my purpose, So.
And he's an area manager now?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he's built it all, like, I'm like, listen, I'm one of what they refer to as the dinosaurs, we drove 300 miles for nobody to show up. So when y'all get on Facebook Lives and nobody shows up, don't feel bad. At least you didn't spend,
all day driving.
2 tankfuls of gas to get where you were going. And, I mean, Tammy and I could sit here and tell you stories all day long about, so, I mean, so it's really been that, that has been in and of itself has just been so awesome to see. And he's like, I'm not stopping until I'm a national vice president,
That's awesome.
And he's like, I've watched my mom's life change. I've seen that. I just, for him, he was like, he didn't feel like that he could ever do parties. But then in January, we were doing parties. So I'm like, this is going to be, he went to one of his district managers was launching a new business builder, and we went, and he's like, so this is what you do? And I'm like, yeah, this is how I built my business. And he's like, there's a lot of good food on the table.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Well, Trisha, so I want to circle back to makeup. So what are some of your key selling points that you would mention that sets Arbonne apart? I heard you mention the pigment, and of course, there's no rendered animal fat, decomposing or whatever.
Yes.
Changing the smell and texture and color of things.
Yeah.
So obviously the ingredients, but they're highly pigmented. They work with your skin. Like, what from a makeup artist can we glean from you to say about Arbonne makeup that we can be so proud of?
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, like, sometimes I kind of forget about this because, I worked in that industry for so long, and now I've been in Arbonne for 19 years. But I mean, I think every woman eventually develops some type of allergic reaction to cosmetics. I mean, I used to have migraine headaches like you would not believe. I had to have the shots. They would be so bad because I worked in that department. I haven't had one since they went away after I quit working in that department. But they're so, and I mean, I know you all have heard this, but they're so clean and they're so pure. And oh my gosh, if you guys just had any idea what all is out there and all the nasty stuff that's in the cosmetic industry, or if you've watched any of the videos, I mean, there's some videos on Netflix right now, I mean, that are just, and it's just, I just love the fact that, I know that if a woman is having any kind of trouble with what, let's just say cosmetics, I know that I probably have the answer for her, because it's so funny. I was freelancing a little bit, like my first 2 months that I was doing Arbonne, and I never will forget this lady. She's not with us anymore, but she sat down in my chair and I did her makeup, and I got ready to put mascara on her, and she got real teary-eyed and she said, I can't wear mascara anymore. And she's like, I feel so, she goes, it makes me feel, because that's kind of like the finishing touch, right? The mascara and the lipstick. And she's like, I want to wear mascara so bad because, I just feel funny when I don't have it on. But she goes, but I can't wear it anymore. I'm so allergic. And I have tried and tried and tried. And I put my arms on her shoulder because I'm a big hugger. So it's a really hard time for me right now. Since COVID thing, I literally, I put my arms on her shoulders and I leaned into her and I said, I'm not really supposed to say this to you right now, but I can help you with a mascara that I promise you won't have any problems with. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I just gave her my phone number and I said, call me if you want, and she became one of my best clients in Arbonne. I can't even tell you how many times. The first time we went over there, I did her makeup and she bought like $600 for the cosmetics from me. She's like, I have never, ever, we just don't have those problems. And you guys, there's some stuff and especially in the whole eye makeup department, if you think about the eyeshadows, the eyeliners, the mascara, it can cause a lot of sensitivities to your eyes. Your eyes are watering, or you get rashes or all kinds of things. So I loved that I knew that I wasn't going to have that problem with anybody anymore. And if some of you are new to the whole doing people's makeup, it's such a perfect, because women want, they want to be able to play in makeup. So, I mean, I know that it's kind of a situation right now where we're all social distancing, but, like that whole new set that we have, you guys, it's for everybody. Oh, it is, Tammy, without a doubt. It is the best color collection that we've ever had.
That's good to know.
It is, and it doesn't matter what your skin tone is. It is absolutely, I mean, it's all I have on. It's absolutely perfect. It has so many beautiful shades in it. It's the best one that they've launched in my years of being in Arbonne. And like I said, I'm old as dirt. So I've been 100 Arbonne, so I got a lot to gauge it by. But it's the truth. It really is gorgeous on all skin tones. It doesn't matter how light you are or how dark you are. Absolutely gorgeous. So.
Well, I came into Arbonne because of the makeup. I wasn't interested in the skincare at the time because I had really challenging skin and I was doing proactive and whatever. But the makeup, I was having a lot of sensitivities and everything. So that was my gateway into Arbonne as well. I was just thinking too about Linda Parker, another very successful NVP in Arbonne, has always said, like, when we have get-togethers and we're introducing the nutrition and the skincare and why Arbonne's different, and you have these people that have kind of heard the story now, but they didn't really make a move or make a decision, and you follow up and you ask them for a makeup appointment. And the whole reason for that is to, and we can do this on, we can do this virtually and stuff too. And I sometimes ask my makeup artist friends in Arbonne, like, which color, I'll send them a screenshot of the picture of the person, like, which foundation, I'm not sure I'm between these two. And, we have this resource, which is so nice to draw from. But the whole point of Linda sitting down with someone and talking about makeup, and it's just basically exchanging what they already use with a cleaner, safer brand.
Yes.
But the whole point is to have another conversation and to connect their dreams to Arbonne. And so it's just so much more than a lipstick company. But I tell you what, that can be the gateway to another conversation, to really hear what their discontents and struggles are, and how we can position Arbonne to equal their dreams and be the vehicle. So I love everything you were saying. It's amazing. I just want to open it up. Does anyone have specific makeup questions or any questions for Trisha? And I've done tons of makeup events too, and I just tell people I'm not a makeup artist, but here's all the stuff, you know.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely.
Let them play.
I've even done a couple of Zooms where, one of my friends in Texas ordered the new cherry blossom, and she was just like, so we got on Zoom together, and I did my makeup and walked her through doing her makeup with it. So that is a really good way you can do that right now. And, oh my gosh, we laughed, and because, we just, at one point I literally was lining my eye, and she said something that was funny, and I started laughing, and oh my gosh, I nearly poked my eye out with the eyeliner. And, we had so much fun. So there is you can get on Zoom and do that right now with your girlfriends,
Love it.
You can do it with a group of girls. So, it's possible to do that. And we're all home, most of us. So, so it is a way to do it, and one
Amy,
day we'll get back to.
I have a quick question. So makeup is a struggle for me. I'll be honest. I do get intimidated by it. And I've had people say to me, well, how do I know what foundation shade or CC cream? And especially now, because we can't be in person, how do you help people? There's so many options. Like that that part really overwhelms me. I just don't know. I don't know. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, right now, obviously it's, it's difficult. Because when you put it on their skin, like if you're, and I'll be real honest with you, I only ever use the CC cream. That's just what I
Same with me.
Okay.
I have never used I don't use the foundation, so I'm not familiar with it, which is another problem.
Yeah, because you have to, when somebody is using a foundation, this is what I learned when I worked in the industry, okay? The people coming to my counter, they had no idea if that person they were talking to, if it was the first day on their job. They had no idea. If that person talked with confidence, you knew more about, and you're not comfortable with it, but I promise you know more about it than the person that you're talking to does. So, the beautiful thing, did you ever order those little jars, Tammy? Gosh, they came like in 100 of them, and they were little plexiglass jars with the lids. You could get those, and you could send them, 2 shades. You could get on Zoom with them. They could put it on. You could tell instantly. They'll be able to tell instantly because, if they put it on side by side on their face, they're going to look, and I take a Q-tip. I would take a Q-tip and run it through, and you're looking for the one that you don't really see that line in. That's the beautiful thing about our foundations, is that they're self-adjusting. They really do adjust to your skin tone. And, there's 4 shades in the CC cream. And you know what? And bottom line, it's a money back guarantee. So if you mess up,
exactly.
where are you going to
People
get
are ordering bathing suits online without trying them on. Who
Yes.
would have ever thought we were going to live in a world like that? So people can buy a foundation. The thing is, with the CC cream, very few people are the fair,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so basically you're dealing with light and
Mhm.
medium
Yeah.
and
That's,
dark.
yeah.
So
Those,
very few people are fair. So
mhm.
just keep that in mind. So
Mhm.
most people are actually light, or, you know, some kind of combination between light, medium, dark. So anyway, it helped me
What
just
shade
narrow
do
it
you
down.
wear, Tammy?
I wear
What shade?
medium.
I wear medium.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so, just, I would say, just speak with confidence and just say, you know what? This is what I have found to be true. And, I have Tammy, I've listened to a couple of girls that are makeup artists that came over into Arbonne, and this is what they recommend,
Hmm.
and because they want you to be confident in what you're telling them. So, you know, and you can be confident in what you're telling them because of your belief in Arbonne. So, you guys, cosmetics, makeup is always going to be a huge, it is, do you know it's what carries carries a department store? And I know department stores are kind of like going down the tubes now, but the reason why it's in the center of every store, when you walk in and you walk into this, whether you're walking into Neiman's or Saks or Macy's or whatever, the hub of the store is carried. It's in the center of the store because the cosmetic department is what carries the whole store.
Wow. And
So,
you're right. Cosmetics, tobacco, and alcohol are recession proof, because
yes,
people can be broke, but they're not going to be ugly too. I
yeah,
remember Rita always saying that.
yeah, yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing what just slapping on some lipstick does,
Yeah.
it makes women feel good, and so again, I know we have all of these products, but I'm telling you, don't ever forget the power of the cosmetic department.
Yeah.
Don't ever forget the power of, just going on Facebook and say, oh my gosh, this is my absolute favorite lipstick in the whole world. And they're like, you'll have a gazillion questions about, what is that? What color is that? What are you using? Blah, blah, blah. So,
Yeah.
and we're all shopping online now. All of us, we're not going to stores to buy anything. So we just need to get really good and really comfortable with that. But I mean, honestly, I watched it for 25 years. I watched new girls walk into our department their first day working in the cosmetic department, and I watched them sit there and sell $500 worth of cosmetics, and they didn't know nothing about nothing. But they talked they talked about it with confidence, and more than they know. You know, you do. So,
Thank
And
you.
I would highly recommend investing in the makeup, but if that's not where your budget is in the moment, use what you have. Just put
mhm,
on social media or whatever, use what you have. This is the mascara I use. This is the CC cream I swear
mhm,
by. This is the new palette. It's amazing. Use what you have. Start with where you're at, and yeah, I love that, Amy. I'm glad you said you're intimidated by makeup, but just step up in confidence, knowing that we have something that's it's so healthy. It works. It makes people feel good, makes them glow. We
mhm.
have something so special here. So just to, kind of own it and hold that space of, we know we're different. We know we're a brand that isn't going to subtract from people's health. It's only going to add to people's health. So that's something
Yes,
we can be very
yes,
confident about. And just knowing too that that's, you know, maybe the nutrition, you know, 30 days healthy living isn't quite where they're at yet, or maybe, you know, the skincare isn't part of their budget right now. But makeup, you guys, makeup is a gateway. And so
The key to the door, you guys. It is the key to the door.
I feel like people don't even think twice about getting some new makeup, because that's just part of their budget anyway. And we're just teaching them how to get a safer brand. And the prices for Arbonne is so comparable to, you know, Sephora or, you know, wherever they're shopping. I've had so many people switch from Christian Dior mascara to Arbonne because of the cruelty-free aspect and because it works better, you know? So I guess that's where we can stand strong and just hold our space, that we do have like the most amazing products. And we don't have to be intimidated. We just have to educate and you know, realize that people matter, and it's worth circling back to. It's worth, you know, it's worth whatever time we have with people. Either we're going to have some new clients or we're going to have some new friends. So either way, it's a win. Yeah, love it. Any other questions? Because we're going to close out the call. But I just appreciate, oh my goodness, this was just so valuable. You're precious, Trisha. You are a light. And I just kept getting goosebumps thinking, you know, God had this beautiful plan for this company, because I truly believe that, you know, we were called to this. And he knew you were going to change lives. He put you in Arbonne's path 19 years ago because he knew the legacy you were going to build. And you guys, Trisha's so humble. She didn't say that she has like 7 NVPs in her success line in Australia. She is a powerhouse in this company, and what she started, you know, from a very humble beginning, has grown into this amazing legacy.
$14.
Exactly. So that's the thing. We just have to realize that, you know, we can't say the wrong thing to the right person, to that person who's being called to this and who's, you know, going to bed at night, you know, dreaming and wishing and praying for an opportunity like this. We just have to do our job and tell the whole story, the products and the opportunity here. And then, you know, let it, you know, let those seeds plant and grow where they need to, because God takes care of the rest. I really believe that. And I'm just so grateful for your, you make Arbonne better. And Petter would be so proud and honored that you're passing the torch on, and you're the heart of Arbonne. You know, just again, it's all about people. We're in this, you know,
it is all about the people. It is about what we can do to help others.
That's right. We're in a product-driven company, but it's really about people.
Yeah, it is truly, you know, and I mean, people, again, back to that, Amy, people don't really, you know, they want to know that you care more than how much you know. So, I mean, I just, you know, I just try to always show my heart to people, and, you know, just that's all you can do.
And that's a great point, because you don't have to know everything about Arbonne. I certainly don't. I'm sure Trisha doesn't know everything about every ingredient, even after 19 years. You don't have to.
I'm not an ingredient kind of, I'm not that person. I mean, I have people on my team, I swear. I mean, I listen to them and I'm like, well, I didn't know that. I mean, like, they can tell you every herb that's in, I mean, in every, you know, in the detox tea. I mean, like, everything. They know every ingredient. And I'm like, oh my God, this is me. This is me when I talk about it. It's really great. You're going to love it. It's so awesome. It's like, oh my God, I'm just, you know, and I think to myself, oh my God, I'm so horrible. I should learn all this stuff. I should learn all these things but you know what? People don't care. They honestly, I mean, every once in a while, because I remember when I worked in the cosmetic, every once in a while, somebody would come in and go, do you have methyl? I mean, it'd be like a 25-letter word they were asking me. And I'd be like, well, I have no idea. Here's the box. You can read it. I mean, I don't know. You know, that's not my job. You know.
Exactly.
And I mean, but I'm a fly by the seat of my pants girl. I'm the person that, like, when you open up, they hated for me in the department. They hated for me to put together any of the display items because I always broke them. Because I'm the person that opens the box up to put something together and I don't read the directions. So that's who I am.
Love it.
I'm on the roof of the house when I realize I don't have a ladder to get down on. I just fly by the seat of my pants, and it all just, God just looks after me, I guess, and thinks, oh, she needs a little help.
No, it's true though. But you know what you have, Trisha, which sets you apart is your determination, and you had such a strong why that you were unstoppable. It's like, I know that this is my way. I'm doing this, and I'm doing it until.
Yes.
You know,
Don't
it wasn't
ever,
like I'll do it for
don't
3
ever
months.
stop.
It was, I'm doing this until I get that car, until this, you know,
don't
it
ever
changes.
stop, you guys, because you don't ever know. And you never know when you're, you know, that person that's sitting in front of you or that you're thinking about, you don't know what's going on in their world.
Right.
You could be that, you know, this could be the answer for them. And, you know, people don't let you in to see that kind of stuff, you know? So just keep that in mind. So.
Love it. Well, you are
Arbonne is
precious.
just wrapped up in a great, big, and most beautiful gift that you could ever give anybody. And it's not about the jewelry or any of that stuff. It's about the gift of this business and you know, also the gift of these products for people that, you know, that have been searching for things that, you know, that they're going to feel better using, and that they're going to, you know, it just, I love Arbonne. That's all I can tell you.
I do too. And I love how you pointed out it's a level playing field. Even if your car is rolling down a hill into a truck and on its last leg, you can absolutely be successful. It doesn't matter what's in your bank account today. You can absolutely do this business. It's a level playing field. You can be successful being exactly who you are, and you know, not covering up anything. So just love you.
I had one of my
Appreciate
VPs, Christine, you know, I had her, she had an old rattle trap car, and she's like, you know, she had her bumper duct taped, I think, to her car because she pulled into a parking spot and there was a big snow pile there, and when she backed out, it pulled her bumper off, you know, and it overheated in traffic, and it was just like, she's like, I have to get the car because I don't have anything left to drive, you know. I mean, everybody has their own, and you know, and I mean, she was on the verge of bankruptcy, I think, but I mean, literally, it was just like, you know, that, you know, she's like, and I was so embarrassed because she goes, I would park my car like a half a block away from wherever I was meeting somebody because it was just, I'm like,
and it is. It just comes down to determination, man. You know, the how will figure it out. Figure itself out when we have a strong why.
Yeah. And you know, anything that's bothering you, this is what I always say, anything that bothers you about this business, just talk about the elephant in the room. Whatever it is that's bothering you, you need to talk about it. Say, hey, listen, I'm nervous. You need to know, I've never done this Zoom thing before. I'm the most untechy person in the whole wide world, I promise you. And so, you know, you just need to, you know, think about when you go out to eat at a restaurant and somebody says, oh, I'm so sorry, this is my first day. And all of a sudden you get really nice, right? Because we've all been in that position, and you're like, you try to make her feel really good or make him feel really good about how well he's doing. So if you feel that way in any situation, you know, to talk about it, be real. People want you to be real with them.
Yes.
That's the most important thing you can do, is be real with people and show them your heart and show them who you are and show them that you care. And they don't care if you know 25 letters. They don't.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. Oh, what a gift you are to us. You're such a treasure, and we just appreciate this time. Thank you so much, lady.
I feel the same way about you.
Oh,
You guys,
love
you have
you.
your whole future ahead of you. Just go get it.
Yes.
Mhm.
You just gave me goosebumps. It's true.
Yes.
It's here for all of us. Love
Yes.
you.
I love you too.
All right.
All right.
We're
You all have a beautiful day today. Happy Father's Day to your
Thank you.
world out there. And you guys, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed doing this, Tammy.
Oh, appreciate you. Yes, it's such a treat.
All right, sweetheart. Love you guys. Have a
Love
good
you.
day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.